Yeah, hey Karen. So we heard as well that Mr. Buffett, as well as the designated successor here, Greg Abel, was asked about their investments in terms of the Japanese trading firms, so those 5 Sogo Shosha that we first found out they were invested in back in 2019. And again, we really heard this optimism coming through from both of them. They said that these are long-term holds. They see their investments there to remain for 50 years, potentially forever. Mr. Buffett also said, look, we've got 20 billion invested in these 5 trading firms, but we wish we had 100 billion. Keeping in mind just recently as well, in the last couple of months, we saw an upping of their respective stakes in these trading firms. And also he had written to shareholders saying that he's been able to negotiate as well some flexibility in that 10% ceiling with these companies. So we could see their stakes in these companies going up a little higher, given that they are just below that 10% level at this stage. But, you know, this really underscores that value strategy, buying, as he says, into great companies at fair prices. Although Mr. Buffett said when it came to these trading firms at the entry point, they were quote unquote at ridiculously low prices. And that was really one of the main things here, that even though these trading companies' share price has sort of risen by more than 200% in the last 5 years, also outperforming the Japanese Topex index as well, that versus metrics by, you know, averages S&P 500, you know, whether that's, you know, the price to book or the price to earnings, we're still talking about very cheap valuations here. So that's part of the story. They've also been buying their investments in these companies through yen-denominated bonds, so leveraging the very cheap borrowing costs in Japan as well. And also he's spoken about the fact that he really likes the corporate governance story there, and that these companies have really heeded the calls by government in terms of returning value to shareholders, whether that's in terms of generous dividends or buybacks as well. I think, you know, some analysts describe these Sogo Shosha as Japanese-run companies with global exposure, because they're in everything. They're very, very diversified, and perhaps that's in the short term going to cause a bit of pain given the tariff uncertainty. And we did get the earnings last week, with a lot of these companies also putting in these earnings buffers for the first time to account for the tariff uncertainty as well. But as we heard from Mr. Buffett, this is a long-term play, and he really believes in these companies, guys.